It is currently the 27th of December 2020. I'm meteorologist Robert Speda. I hope everybody that celebrates Christmas had a good one here across the Western Pacific. Thing is, as we go ahead into the weekend after Christmas, a just conglomerate of precipitation over the Philippines. This is that tropical wave been watching for some time. It's not a tropical depression, but just plenty of rainfall to go with it. In fact, the center of the low is even over here towards the Sulu Sea, but you can just kind of see that general circulation wrapping around here, that inflow pulling it behind it, and maybe even a minor secondary low spinning up just east of Manila out here in the Philippine Sea. That moisture, regardless, is pushing on shore. That's why there are some flood advisories in place south of Manila across Legazpi this morning as well. Eventually, that moisture is going to continue to push off there towards the north, with some areas, especially along the Sierra Madre Mountains, seeing well over 100 millimeters of total precipitation. So not a typhoon, my goodness, not a typhoon. Not even a named tropical storm or a tropical depression for that matter, but just plenty of rainfall with this low pressure area. There is really no tight defined center of circulation at this time. I only did mark it there, just kind of give you an idea of where it is. So it's up to PAGASA if they want to name it a TD, but they say in their forecast they do not expect this to become a tropical depression. Key thing is just that moisture inflow. This is heading into Monday morning, and then as we go ahead through that 3-day rainfall, the bulk of that precipitation really lining up here along the eastern portions of Luzon. Yet some of that is going to filter over to the mountains into the Cagayan Valley, where it could be seeing upwards about 20 to 40 millimeters. Localized, might even see more than that. There along the Cagayan River. Last place you need more rainfall there. It's already high. More precipitation could be adding to the problems we are seeing for that region, which is not only because of the latest typhoon, but also our latest tropical depression, by the way. And I want to show you this graphic. Lex at Western Pacific Weather put this together, just kind of showing the track of Vicky couple weeks ago here at the tract off there across the Sulu Sea. Very, very similar fashion than what we're seeing right now. But the thing with it, and what we're seeing right now as well, is despite the fact it was so far down towards the south, that moisture flow was lined up along the east coast of the country here. Some areas saw, look at this, look at some of these totals, over 200 to 300 millimeters in central Isabela was reported here along the eastern slopes of those mountains there. It was just an absurd amount of rainfall for the type of system we had. And when you got warm sea surface temperatures, what we do have in the Philippine Sea, that adds energy into the atmosphere, and we just see increased areas of precipitation. Unfortunately, with a La Niña in place, that is going to be the case as we go ahead throughout the rest of our winter months. Speaking of winter months, Monday night, our cold surge begins to arrive. You can see that front starting to drift down here towards the south. As we go to Tuesday, over towards Wednesday, it eventually begins to push, and that is going to be lining up with these gusty conditions. This graphic actually should say more of Tuesday, by the way. Monday night's a little bit further towards the north. As we go to Tuesday, it finally starts to arrive, and then by Wednesday, full-on cold surge across Okinawa, Taiwan, western areas of Japan. Yeah, it's going to be breezy. It's going to be cooler. You can just kind of take a look at these temperatures as they drift down here towards the south. So if you're in Taipei, it's going to be a chilly one, even over towards Thailand, where cold weather advisories are in place for Thailand as well. I mean, you're going to be looking at the mercury dropping in some of the higher elevations, single digits. Yeah. Or excuse me, this is Vietnam. I'm getting my stuff all messed up here. It's one of those days. Making a lot of videos across the Western Pacific. My point is, you got a big cold surge going on here. You got some sea effect snow also setting up as well, all the way from Hokkaido down through central areas of Honshu, Hokuriku, Niigata, Nagano. If you're a skier, you're going to be absolutely stoked by this as we go ahead over towards Thursday, heading into Friday. All right, so the CBC extended a rainfall. I do not see in any of the numerical guidance at this time, I do not see anything spinning up outside of the obvious just blob of moisture we got over the Philippines today. But thanks to, as I mentioned, the La Niña, the warm sea surface temperatures, we do have just series of waves coming on by. So maybe we don't have a typhoon, but we do have above average moisture in the forecast here for the Philippines, even extending over towards the Indo-China Peninsula as well, and all the way extending across India too. That's very typical you would see with a La Niña pattern. So next 2 weeks is still going to be wet, It's still going to be plenty of rainfall as well in the forecast. Tropical outlook, though, please subscribe. I know YouTubers say that all the time. If you watched all the way to the end of this video, which is kind of a long one, and I'm all over the place here, and you're not subscribed, subscribe. I always appreciate it. Also hit that like button, all that other good stuff. It helps out with the analytics. I know it sounds cliche to say that. It sounds cliche to ask, but it does honestly help out the analytics. You guys, any questions, though? If you don't feel comfortable commenting here, you can hit me up on any of these social media platforms as well. Of course, as always, though,